Love that for me. Love that for this story. Well, hello, my beautiful reader friends, and welcome back, or welcome for the first time if you are new here. My name is Lori Beth, and thank you so much for stumbling across my little corner of the internet, aka my booktube channel, where I like to talk about all things bookish. So it is that time again, my friends, where we are going to go over my monthly subscription box unboxing, plus a little mini book haul of some books that I picked up for the continuation of my fall-ish TBR reads. So I think for this video, we are going to start with the book haul of some books that I picked up from my local bookstore, and then we are going to move on to the subscription boxes for this video. So I am going to present each book on camera and then go over a short synopsis of each book as well. For the subscription boxes, if you have not been here for one of these videos before, I am going to open each box and then pull out each book, display them individually, and go over each one and why I chose to go with that book for this month. With that being said, we do have a handful of books to go over, so we are gonna go ahead and jump right in. All right, so starting with the book haul books that I got from my local bookstore, and the very first one that I have in my pile, and that is this beautiful edition of Edgar Allan Poe's works, his short stories, and his poems, all in one cute, teeny tiny book with a raven on the cover. And can we talk about the colors of this book? Hello, Halloween. Hi, spooky season. Like, he's not perfect for spooky season already. So I had never seen this edition before, and when I saw it, I was immediately drawn to it because of the cover and the colors of the cover, and because it's such a compact book. I have an old copy of his complete works. It's water damaged, some of the pages don't turn, some things are ripped, it's been moved from house to house, from apartment to apartment, and it really hasn't stood the test of time very well. And when I saw this and fell in love with it, I was like, you know what? This is the year I'm gonna treat myself to a cute little compact version of some of the favorite stories that I like to read from him. So I think most of us know who Edgar Allan Poe is and what his short stories and some of his poems are like. I thought I could just read a brief description from the inside cover that could give a really good synopsis of Poe and what his writing style is like in general. Of all the preeminent 19th century American writers, Edgar Allan Poe staked out the most vivid reputation as a master of the macabre and remains the first choice of entertainment for many who want a spine-chilling thrill. A prolific writer of poetry and criticism in addition to fiction, Poe was known not only for the eerie beauty of his prose, but also his formidable satire. He is revered as one of the foremost American Gothic stylists. The best of Poe's short fiction and poems are collected all here. So there you have it, a cute little book of creepy little tales, and there is no one that does spooky, Gothic, macabre like Edgar Allan Poe, and I continue to read his stories year after year, and I hope that this one will stand the test of time a little better going forward, or I will at least take better care of it than I have done in the past. My bad. And next up on my list from my book haul is Nestlings by Nat Cassidy. And I'm not gonna lie, I am nervous about this one. And I'm also not gonna lie, I started it last night because I was chomping at the bit to read something a little bit darker, a little bit more on the horror side than I typically reach for. And this book was calling to me at the bookstore. So I figured we could read the back of the book together so you can get a good idea of what the story is about, and if I'm maybe crazy for deciding that I can suddenly read scary books. I don't know. We'll go over it together. Anna and Reed needed a lucky break. The horrifically complicated birth of their first child has left Anna paralyzed, bitter, and struggling with mobility, with her relationship with Reed, and with resentment for her baby. That's about to change with the words any New Yorker would love to hear. Affordable housing lottery. They've won an apartment in the Deptford, one of Manhattan's most revered buildings, with beautiful vistas of Central Park and stunning architecture. Reed dismisses disturbing events and Anna's deep unease and paranoia as the price of living in New York. People are odd, but he can't explain the needle-like bite marks on the baby. So, I'm not gonna lie, I was drawn to this because of the creepy setting. So as I've talked about in some previous videos, how I started realizing how much I liked books set in places, specifically like homes or buildings, sentient places more specifically. And I don't know if that's where this is going to go, but the idea that this was set in a very elusive apartment building that people don't really know a whole lot about. It's been there for a century. In the front of the book, there are a list of trigger warnings. Again, this is a horror book, at least it leans more towards horror, not necessarily gothic. So this is a little out of my comfort zone, but I thought because it is more focused on the setting and like the goings on of the apartment or being surrounded by the apartment, I thought that would be a good kind of like segue into some darker horror books for me personally. I have always considered myself a baby. And here's the thing is I don't mind creepy books. I actually really like creepy books. I like dark books. I don't even mind a little bit of like a grotesque writing style. I just can't do tons of icky gore and stuff like that. I don't necessarily think that's going to be in here. But again, this book is full of trigger warnings. It's listed out in the front by the author himself. So if this is something you are interested in, or it's like sounding kind of appealing to you from the synopsis, make sure you read through those trigger warnings first, and then decide from there whether or not that's something that you can read. But I don't know. I'm kind of excited about this one, and I've just heard great things about Nat Cassidy's writing. Never read a book by him before. If you've read this, let me know. Drop in a comment below. Am I crazy? Is this going to be something I regret? Or is it really not that bad and I'm just making a bigger deal out of something than I should be? Which I've never done before. All right, next on my list is a book that, surprisingly, I have never read before. Clearly, I have seen this book on bookshelves for years, and I have always been drawn to it, but I am feeling so sucked into that gothic vibe, and more specifically, a classics vibe, because I just finished reading Frankenstein, which will be coming up in a wrap-up shortly. But I go through these trends, and it really seems to happen during certain times of the year. When it starts to get a little darker outside, when it starts to get colder outside, I find myself drawn to more of those gothic style books. And a lot of times, classics will fall into that, aka Frankenstein or Dracula. But the book that I have never actually read up to this point in my life is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, and this stunning cover that I absolutely could not say no to. I mean, look at that. This creepy castle, and then the back of the book. This creepy drawing on the back too. What could draw me more into a dark fall book than this cover? Probably not much else. So I know most of us probably know the synopsis of Jane Eyre already, but I figured we could just do a recap so that we can get a little bit more of a connection for the stunning cover that I found. Charlotte Bronte tells the story of orphan Jane Eyre, who grows up in the home of her heartless aunt, enduring loneliness and cruelty. This troubled childhood strengthens Jane's natural independence and spirit, which proved necessary when she finds employment as a governess to the young ward of Byronic, brooding Mr. Rochester. As her feelings for Rochester develop, Jane gradually uncovers Thornfield Hall's terrible secret, forcing her to make a choice. Should she stay with Rochester and live with the consequences, or follow her convictions, even if it means leaving the man she loves? A novel of intense power and intrigue, Jane Eyre dazzled readers with its passionate depiction of a woman's search for equality and freedom. There is something so beautifully dark about the setting of this book, that gothic vibe. Jane herself growing up in this very dark environment with a very unkind family member, and then kind of stumbling into another life of secrets and mystery, and also kind of a coming of age story. So Jane herself kind of getting out there and finding which direction her life should go in. I am telling you what, it has been a long time coming for me to finally get to this book, and I am so pulled in to that dark, spooky, gothic vibe right now that I feel like there's no better time to just ride the wave and fall head over heels into that classics area that I can like feel myself going. I'm not gonna fight it. I'm gonna go all in. All right, so that was my little mini book haul from the local bookstore. Next, we are going to move on to our first subscription box, and it is going to be my Book of the Month box, and this is for the October subscription. So again, these can be a little confusing because Book of the Month is always the current month, while my other subscription box is a month behind just because of the type of subscription it is and where it comes from overseas. So Book of the Month for October, we are gonna crack this beautiful blue box open together. You know, one of my favorite things to do on camera is use a sharp object. Why not have video evidence of anything that could go wrong? Alrighty, get this bad boy flipped around. All right, so first book that I picked for my October book of the month is The Dagger and the Flame by Catherine Doyle. Ooh, get a load of that cover. Beautiful. Again, kind of goes with the fall vibe. That brilliant red and orange, orangey yellow combination. Love it. Book of the month emblem on our corners, which, you know, I've kind of geeked out about at this point in time because I'm very quickly accumulating my book of the month spines that I have on their own shelf on my bookshelf, and it is just stunning. I love the aesthetic. I'm not gonna lie. All right, so as I've talked about previously with book of the month, these are not necessarily like a ton of bells and whistles that you will find on some fantasy or genre specific subscription boxes, but these are always beautifully done hardcover editions, sometimes early release editions, and sometimes there's just a little bit of a difference on the cover for book of the month. They're not usually completely redone covers, but you will find some changes from the original every now and then. But let's go over the synopsis of this one together, and then I'll tell you why I chose to pick this one. In the dark underbelly of a beautiful city, two rival gang members are pitted against each other in a deadly game of duty and revenge in which the most dangerous mistake is falling in love. In Phantom, a kingdom of cobbled streets, flickering lamplight, beautiful buildings, and secret catacombs, shade magic is a scarce and deadly commodity controlled by two enemy guilds, the Cloaks and the Daggers, the Thieves and the Assassins. On the night of her mother's murder, 17-year-old Seraphine runs for her life, seeking sanctuary with the Cloaks. Sarah is set on revenge. But are her secret abilities a match for the dark-haired boy whose quicksilver eyes follow her around the city? Can we talk about a quicksilver-eyed boy? Love. Nothing can prepare Sarah for the moment she finally comes face to face with Ransom, heir to the Order of Daggers, and Ransom is shocked to discover that this unassuming farm girl wields a strange and blazing magic he has never seen before. As the Cloaks and the Daggers grapple for control of Phantom's underworld, Sarah and Ransom are consumed by the push and pull of their magic and the deadly spark and terrible vengeance that keeps drawing them back together.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I don't know if I need to tell you much more of why I picked this book besides the synopsis, but I will go into it a little bit. So first and foremost, we have magic. Secondly, we have a forbidden romance. Third, we have characters with beautiful names like Ransom and Quicksilver Eyes. I'm sorry. Love that for me. Love that for this story. And also, I know where I typically see myself going in my reading vibe towards the winter months. And I eat up fantasy so much more in the colder, longer winter months for some reason. There's something so comforting about curling up on the couch when it is 10 degrees and snowing in Michigan with a fantasy book and not moving for the entire day. And not just that, I have heard nothing but good things about this book, and I am constantly on the lookout for that next fantasy series or even just fantasy standalone that I can truly get sucked into, like fall into. There is nothing I love more than a good fantasy story with a set of characters that I just absolutely adore and fall in love with, and I'm hoping that this will be up there on that list. So I am really excited to get to this one, possibly in November, maybe December. We will see. Super excited for this one. See if I can sneak this out of the box really quick. Boom. Hit it from you. All right, next from my book of the month picks in October is probably not a surprise to any of you, Intermezzo by Sally Rooney, and the beautiful book of the month edition. I think the Barnes & Noble one, at least here in the US, is orange. I could be wrong, but I believe it's orange. I love yellow. Yellow is my favorite color. Love the black emblem on this book. It just pops perfectly. And then of course that gorgeous spine that I get to add to my amazing book of the month bookshelf. So excited. All right, so let's go over the synopsis of this one and then why I picked it, which I'm sure you already know, but that's okay. We'll go over it together anyways. Aside from the fact that they are brothers, Peter and Ivan Kobik seem to have little in common. Peter is a Dublin lawyer in his 30s, successful, competent, and apparently unassailable. But in the wake of their father's death, he's medicating himself to sleep and struggling to manage his relationships with two very different women, his enduring first love Sylvia, and Naomi, a college student for whom life is one long joke. Ivan is a 22-year-old competitive chess player. He has always seen himself as socially awkward, a loner, the antithesis of his glib elder brother. Now, in the early weeks of his bereavement, Ivan meets Margaret, an older woman emerging from her own turbulent past, and their lives become rapidly and intensely intertwined. For two grieving brothers and the people they love, this is a new interlude, a period of desire, despair, and possibility, a chance to find out how much one life might hold inside itself without breaking. So, if you caught my last video, which was my list of auto by authors, you know very, very well my irrevocable love for Sally Rooney. I will buy anything that this woman writes. And as you heard from the synopsis, this is very true to her writing style, or kind of like the narrative that she usually writes about in her stories, and that is the dynamic of relationships between different types of people, siblings, family members, best friends from school, you name it, she's written about it, and this sounds no different. And I don't think that there's another author that does writing like that better than Sally Rooney. She has this beautiful way of kind of writing characters that are not always the most likable, which I know that that whole sentence sounded weird, right? A beautiful way of unlikable people, but that's the best way I can think to describe it. Most of her characters I've read about thus far have not really been the best. Like, you don't actually really love them, but she's able to evoke this emotion from you that makes you still want to garner sympathy for them somehow and just see their lives end up in a better place than where the story started. And she's never let me down. And in fact, I think this might be in contention for my favorite Sally Rooney book to date. We'll see. Let's circle back on that when I actually read it and have this in a wrap up. Let's see if it stands true. This, I think I'm going to try to squeeze into November because I was already keeping myself from reading it when it came out at the end of September. I was like, don't you do it, because I have a feeling that book of the month is going to make all of your dreams come true in the month of October. And per usual, they did not let me down. Oh, so excited to get to this one too. All right, well, that is book of the month. So let's go ahead and get these beauties back in here until I am ready to get these ones in their new home on my bookshelf. I have to apologize if you can hear any weird background noise. Without a doubt, every time I want to sit down and record, something weird or wonky happens. And I guess it's not necessarily weird, but wouldn't you know it, as soon as I get ready to start recording, my neighbor decides that it is time for leaf removal. And what are you gonna do about that? All right, my friends, we have one more thing to go over in the video, and that is my next subscription box, and that is my OwlCrate box for the month of September. I am so excited to open this one. Finally, another book that I have known has been in here, because I usually do look up spoilers for my OwlCrate box. And just to clarify where I'm at right now with subscription boxes, OwlCrate is the only one I have remaining that is fantasy based. I have kind of taken a break from some of the other subscription boxes just because I was finding I was either skipping them a lot or receiving duplicates of certain things, and I would just kind of pick and choose because I don't always need 2 copies, even though each are stunning in their own ways. I don't always need to, especially because, just like most of us, I am limited on space. So OwlCrate has always been my tried and true, the very first subscription box I was ever able to get off the wait list for. And I just love the the stunning work that OwlCrate does in their boxes. So this is the one I have decided to keep going forward, at least for now. And then obviously I'm part of Book of the Month too, which is just a way different subscription box in general. So with OwlCrate, I have the adult fantasy subscription. And with that being said, we are going to go ahead and crack this one open together. We did it. All right. Let's get in. I'm so excited for this. Okay. This is weird. There's no card in the box, and usually there's a card. So before I even show you what the book is, I am first going to pull the description card up so we can read it together. So for the OwlCrate September adult fantasy theme, we have Queen Hereafter. The September book follows our main character as she is sold into a marriage meant to foster a political allegiance between her family and her husband. Cursed by an unearthly beauty and ruled by the men in her life, there seems to be no escape from her fate. Within the confines of her marriage, she realizes that she has become a pawn for the power-hungry machinations of her husband. Yet all power has a price, and soon she realizes just how far she can push the boundaries of what needs to be paid. Your September exclusive OwlCrate edition will feature exclusive redesigned dust jacket, reversible dust jacket, foil hardcover case, end pages and art, stenciled edges, signed by the author letter bound into the book, and bonus content bound into the book as well. This is where I would typically hold up that theme card for you to see along with the playlist that is usually on the back of it, because I kind of geek out over that. So the OwlCrate adult fantasy book for September is Lady Macbeth by Ava Reed. Oh my God. I'm so excited for this. So excited. All right, let's go ahead and open this beauty up so we can take a closer look at her. Just enough as not to damage this beautiful, beautiful edition. I'm going to hold this up again so that we can see it out of the plastic wrap. Oh my gosh. Oh. Look at this beautiful cover. The white and gold, the foiling. I feel like this is one of those covers you would look at and see more detail over time. The leaves, the flowers, the animals. Our beautiful spine. The back. And our beautiful stenciled edge. I am so in love, and I have been waiting to read this book longer than I care to admit. I am so beyond excited. I love the original cover of this too, but I knew I was getting this in my subscription box. So again, I'm like, do I need 2 copies? No, not really. So you are going to wait, Lori, whether you like it or not. You just have to be patient. All right, let's check out this reversible dust jacket. Oh my God. I am nothing but the dagger in my husband's hand. Keep your mortal eyes open. I can't with this cover. Oh my God. Look at that. She looks like an angel queen. I am so excited. I have never read Lady Macbeth at all. So clearly this is a retelling of Lady Macbeth, as I'm sure most of you have gathered by this point in time. But I do know that I like Ava Reed's writing style because she has a beautiful prose, very romantic, and also very atmospheric. I fell in love with her from reading A Study in Drowning last year. So if she can bring that same vibe to the Lady Macbeth story, I will be head over heels, over the moon. I think I would fall in love with her even more if I'm being honest. All right, let's check out this naked book. Oh my God. Whoa. That foiling. We love a dragon. Am I right? We love a dragon. Holy moly. When a crown falls, many arms reach out to catch it. Like the sayings on this book already. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, let's check out our end papers. Now you are the dagger in my hand. I can't with the daggers. And it's already like very poetic, very romantic. Look at this artwork. Oh my God. Every month, I swear, OwlCrate just levels up more and more. You will haunt me too. We can never be truly apart then if we are each other's ghosts. Like, rip my heart out. Take this dagger that they keep talking about and rip my heart out with it. Oh my God. This is gorgeous. So I'm going to be a little naive here, and because I don't know this for sure. Lady Macbeth maybe has a forbidden romance herself. She's clearly not super in love with her husband that she was betrothed to, I would imagine, and possibly has a romance with this dark-haired gentleman on the back cover. I don't know. I'm hoping that's where the story goes because I would eat that up. I'm telling you what. All right, let's crack in here. I'm not going to freak out. But I want to, just a tiny bit. Oh my God. Author signature. She wrote it in gold pen. I don't think you can even pick that up on camera. I'm trying my best. I don't know how many times I can talk about having author signatures in books and how I just love it so much. I hold them so near and dear to my heart. I love having signed editions. It is the best thing that can happen in a book for me. You could take everything else away from this book. It could be a ratty, torn, damaged book from a secondhand shop, but it has an author signature in it, and it is a prized possession. So I have been thrilled to get to this book. I think that it fits with the fall vibe for some reason. I'm always kind of going back to and thinking of Morgan Is My Name. Whenever I see these storylines of women like betrothed into marriage and with kings and royalty and being basically in these lives that they never asked for or don't really fit well into. Plus, I know that Ava Reid has a very good atmospheric writing style. Again, Gothic settings, that very Gothic vibe to her books. So I feel like this is going to wrap up my November-ish TBR very nicely. I think that's where I'm going to place this one, and I'm so beyond thrilled to finally read this story. Oh, this edition is so beautiful. So excited. All right, let's get this beauty back in her cover. We're going to place her back in here until she is ready to find her new home on the bookshelves. Well, there you have it, my friends. That is my latest subscription box unboxing plus my mini book haul. So we went over all of the books that I picked up from my local bookstore, my book of the month for the month of October, and then my OwlCrate adult fantasy for the month of September. I am very happy with my choices for book of the month and so beyond blown away by OwlCrate's special edition per usual. So I would love to know if you have read any of the books that we talked about in today's video, especially that Nestlings book. I want people's opinions on that. Am I going to regret thinking that I can read a horror book, or is it really not that bad? But mostly, have you read anything that we discussed in today's video, or do you belong to any subscription boxes? Which ones do you belong to? Let me know in a comment down below. I am always keeping my eyes peeled for something down the road. As always, if you liked this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button because it always helps a girl out. And if you want to make sure you don't miss any of my other upcoming videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button too. As always, it has been an absolute blast, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next one.